Kia Bia, where you at? Where you at? Kia Bia,
That's me.
Kia Bia,
That's me.
Kia Bia.
Yeah, that's me. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Zakia Chanel Podcast. Welcome everyone that's new to the podcast. Welcome to the Kia Bia gang, and welcome to all of my Kia Bia gang that's always supporting and just being there for me. So this is episode 5, y'all, and I'm excited about this one. I think I say that for everyone. I'm excited about it. So at this point, I'm excited about all episodes. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get straight into the episode. As you all know, we're going to start with our praise break. Something that's just been good, that's been happening in our lives. Something that we just want to take some time out and just say, like, thank you. I'm happy that this is going on. This is a blessing that's going on in my life that's happening for me. So, my praise break is just me applying for graduation. So it sounds so small, but the journey of just even getting to here and now being able to apply for graduation and knowing that it's almost time for me to just walk that stage, y'all. Like, I'm excited. I'm filled with, like, I don't know. I think I'm really honestly just proud of myself. And so I'm just so excited, and I'm just happy that I'm able to apply for graduation and that I'll be done and getting my master's, getting that degree real soon. So that's my praise break for this episode. So as we're already talking about, well, before we get started, thank you to everybody who followed or responded to my inspirational quote for episode 4. Make sure that you all follow me on all of my social media so you can always see the IQ of the week. It's either going to be an inspirational question or an inspirational quote. And it's just something to help you, to motivate you and get you through that week. And just something to keep you motivated. So anyway, episode 5. The title for episode 5 is called It's the Degree for Me. It's the degree for me. So obviously we're talking about degrees. So I think y'all know where we're going with this episode. But it's going to be my personal story. I'm probably not going to talk about everything in it because that's a lot to cover in one episode. But I'm pretty sure throughout the course of just my podcast in general, you'll have an opportunity to hear something about my life and anything dealing with like school or college or anything. So it's the degree for me. The reason I decided to do this episode and chose this topic is because there are a few people who have asked me, you know, like, what is it like getting your master's? What is it like going to school and working? What's the difference from like undergrad and graduate school? And some people don't even know like what is graduate school? Like, what is that? And so this episode is to hopefully try to answer some of those questions. And if you ever have like any other questions, always feel free to hit me up and I'll be sure to help you in whatever way I can, because that journey in itself is a hard choice and hard decisions altogether. And it's money involved. So you gotta, make sure that you're thinking wisely and making the best decisions for yourself. So it's the degree for me. I'm just going to start with like why I decided to even apply for graduate school. So when I finished undergrad and I got my bachelor's degree and everything, I had already had plans to go to get my master's. However, I was like, I don't know. When I graduated, I was excited, but I also was in a stage where I really honestly did not know what was next for me. I was kind of like confused, kind of like, okay, where's my place in this world? Like, where am I supposed to be at? I had thoughts of moving to Atlanta and not even being in Detroit. So with just so many different things going on, I didn't want to just jump into school and not really knowing what to do. And one of the things that I received as a tip during undergrad is one person told me, I think we were doing like a graduate, they had like a graduate event going on where if where we were interested in grad school, they'll come and talk to us about it. And I was a part of that. And one of the tips that stayed with me that this girl said was, don't go get your master's and not be confident or positive of what you're going to get it for. She's like, with undergrad, you have 4 years. Yes, it's expensive, but it's not that expensive as getting your master's. And you're figuring out what you want to do during undergrad. But once you hit master's, what you're applying for, like the school that you're applying for within like that college, is exactly what all the classes are going to be about. You're not just taking random classes like you did in undergrad. Like, it's going to be specifically for whatever you decided to go to school for. And so she was like, don't just jump to that decision without knowing. And so that was the one thing that stuck with me. So when it was my time to make the decision if I wanted to go straight to get my master's or not, I had to sit with like, do I even know what I want to do? What am I going to get my master's in? Do I want to continue with journalism as getting my master's? Do I want to focus on a different area? What do I really want? And so other than trying to make that decision and figure out what exactly I wanted in 2-3 months, I decided to just take a year off and figure out what would be best for me. So after that year, I was like, maybe I don't even need to apply for grad school. Like, maybe I'm straight. I don't even want to go to grad school no more. It was nothing that happened, just that I just started to say, like, I don't want to do it. And I had to sit with that. Well, Kia, why don't you even want to go to get your master's anymore? Like, why don't you want to go to grad school? And I realized that I just didn't know if I was going to get in. I honestly did not know. So many people were telling me how hard it is to get into certain programs and this and that. And so it kind of made me a little bit afraid. I'm like, maybe I don't do this because I don't want to apply and give my all to it and then I don't get in. Then I had to sit with like, okay, now what, So I was a little bit afraid. So other than even trying, I was like, maybe I won't do it. But with the help of my friend Keisha, honestly, like, she might have been the one who pushed me the most without her really knowing that she pushed me the most. But she was the one who pushed me to even decide to apply for grad school. So when I said, okay, I'm going to apply, I knew what I wanted to go into. So I had that box checked off. And then the second thing I had to worry about was money. So 2 things you want to worry about when you're about to go to graduate school after undergrad is the program that you're going into. You want to make sure that you actually want to go into that program. And second, your finances. Like, how are you going to pay for this? Because graduate school is not cheap, y'all. It's not cheap at all. The classes, my goodness, like, where's this money going towards? So I was like, okay, one thing I promised myself is that if I go and I get in, I'm not going to pay for my master's. I'm not going to pay for it. Kia, you're going to figure out some way to get your graduate school paid for. You're not going to come out of pocket. The most I told myself I wanted to come out of pocket was buying books or anything like school supplies, anything like that, or anything extra that I had to do. But I was not planning on going and coming out of my pocket to pay for my tuition. Now, that might be a stretch for somebody, but for me, that was something I was determined and something I told myself even during undergrad that I'm not going to settle for. So when I made the decision to apply, I had to figure out, how am I going to get this degree paid for? What am I going to do? So with that, you have to get out of the state of wanting to be lazy. And that's the state I feel like a lot of people get into, whether it's undergrad, graduate school, whatever the case is with schooling and trying to figure out how we're going to pay for it, is that we become lazy. It's simple. All we have to do is go search for the different ways or ask people. And we get so want to just be like, I don't even feel like dealing with it or figuring it out, that we lose out on opportunities where our education can be paid for. And so I was like, I need to figure out some way. So I brought up tuition reimbursement to my job, and I figured out a way for them to pay for my tuition reimbursement and pay for my grad school through tuition reimbursement. And each company is different. Everybody pays different. They give you a percentage, or they have to see if you're actually passing your classes. Like with my job, I have to show the transcript. I took these classes, and this is my grade in my class. Because if you receive a certain grade or your GPA goes down, they can easily just be like, we're not about to pay for your schooling anymore, or we only will pay for the next semester, and that's it. So each job is different, but just take that opportunity to research if your job does tuition reimbursement. And if your job does not do tuition reimbursement, don't be afraid to make that step to ask, do y'all want to make that change to start providing tuition reimbursement to your employees? Like, don't be afraid to be that person that makes the change for that job or that company. And so make sure that you just pay attention to that. So like I said, for me, those was my top 2 things that I wanted to make sure I was good with. Now, into grad school and everything like that, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard. It's hard. Not necessarily the classes in itself. They're challenging, but they're not difficult. They're challenging. Like, I honestly do better in grad school than I did in undergrad for like some of my classes, like way better. So it's a mindset that you have to have when you're taking these classes. But the difficulty and the challenge comes in with all of the other extra things that you're doing. In undergrad, it's so easy. Like, you go to school, you're in activities and organizations, you're having fun, you're chilling out, you do your homework, and that's about it. You go to work if you're working, and you might have to pay some bills or something like that. But you're not stressing or having to worry about a lot. Now, that may be different. Everybody's stress level may be different for undergrad, but it's not to the certain amount as it is in grad school. In grad school, there's a whole new game ball. You got people in there who has full family, wife, husband, kids, some people who have full-time jobs, others who working on other different projects. So everybody come in with their own challenge that they have to work with during grad school. And for me, that challenge was having a full-time job that requires a lot, and then also wanting to still do different things on my own time, like podcasts or my YouTube channel that I was doing previously, or just wanted to be like with my family or friends. So there's challenges that you have to deal with and work with while you're in grad school. And it's not easy, but it is capable of achieving. Obviously, I am a product to show you that you can do it regardless. And yes, at first, like that first semester, I was sitting there like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Like, going to work in the morning, getting off late, maybe having to go to a meeting after you're off from work, then having to go to a class and doing your homework, doing papers, like, it starts to pile up and you get overwhelmed very quickly. And so I had to figure out what's going to work best for me, and I had to create a schedule. Okay, these are the days that I'm going to work on this class. This is the days I'm going to work on another class. And then also I had to set a boundary of how much I can give to certain things, how much I can give to my family, how much I can give to my job and everything else, because I want to make sure that I'm doing well in school. It's something that I wanted to do. So now that it's in my hands, I have to figure out how can I best approach this situation in my lifestyle right now. And so that's a challenge, and it's really hard to have full-time job and going to grad school full-time. But you can do it. You're able to do it, and don't let nobody tell you that you can't. You just have to figure out what works best for you. And whatever works best for you is totally different than the next person. But before I move forward, I wanted to go back a minute because applying for grad school is also very challenging. You have to write these full paper. You have to do so much more. I feel like with undergrad, I mean, half of my like undergrad, the ways that I was able to even get into the schools was on site. Like, boom, they're going to interview. All right, you're in, you're not in. That was all. Like, there's only a few applications that I had to do, and there was short essay questions that you had to complete. No, grad school is a whole nother game, but like, you gotta explain your whole life and why you going for this program, what you're gonna do after this program, why this program matters to you. Like, they want to know the full reason of why they should accept you. And so like, that was hard. And honestly, like, I wasn't even planning to apply to U of M Dearborn. I had already had my schools that I wanted to apply for. U of M Dearborn came like literally last minute after I was already applying for everything else, and I seen their program and I was like, oh, their program kind of dope actually. And I was like, but it's U of M. Like, yes, Dearborn, but like, I don't like, it's still U of M at the end of the day. Like, they're a whole nother scale up. I wasn't sure if I was gonna get in, but I didn't care at that time. I had just decided to apply. I couldn't be fearful or scared of like getting into schools anymore. I was past that. I had to just take the leap of faith, and whatever happened happens. Like, the school that I get into is the school that was meant for me. So when I applied to U of M Dearborn, they responded, y'all, within a week. I don't even think it was a full week. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, literally, when I applied to my schools and I sent in all my applications, I was holding my breath like every day, like literally checking my email, refreshing it every few hours. Like, did anybody like send anything yet? And then like U of M popped up, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna tell me, like, did I get in or not? Like, what's gonna happen? I'm nervous, but I was also like excited, and I just did not know. But to even see that it popped up so fast, like within that week, I'm like, oh my gosh, did they turn me down that fast? Like, geez, they could have waited a minute before they let a sister down like that. So I ended up opening it. Obviously, I got in, and that's where I'm at. I'm at U of M Dearborn right now, and I'm about almost done, and I'm about to be graduating, and your girl is happy. But the only thing, honestly, that was very different for me with undergrad and grad school also was we were going through a pandemic. So when I started school for grad, we were in the pandemic. Like, we were on lockdown. Nothing was really going on. So it was weird. I'm like, how am I going to adjust to this? Like, grad school is already harder than undergrad, and now I have to think about doing it virtually. And at first, I never even used to like classes online. I know I was the person who wants to be in a classroom and get the education that way. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is about to be way too much. But honestly, y'all, now that everything's open back up and we are back in person, I sure do regret and miss those days of being virtual, like having to just sit there because your class is at 6 at night. I'm not trying to be in nobody's classroom and not getting out of class until 9 o'clock and still having to go home. I'm ready to go home, log onto this computer now for 6 o'clock and get done at 9 o'clock. And I'm already here at home. I'm already chilling. I'm already out these clothes and stuff. You got me all the way in class, 6 to 9, baby. This is dead. Like, thank you God that I'm almost done with this program, because these classes in person, I probably could not do very much of it any longer. Like, I got spoiled with doing the virtual learning and not even having to go to a class or going to a class every other week or whatever. So that was just really a difference or a change in it altogether. But people always ask me, or some people ask me, like, why did you even decide to go to school after high school, you know? And I'm like, well, I did not have no choice, really. When I graduated from high school, like, my parents were like, you're going to college. My high school, it was like, you're going to college. Like, y'all are doing on-sites. We did on-sites. We went to college tours and everything. So it was already, like, instilled in me that after high school, you're going to college. Like, there's nothing else. And the only hiccup I will say with that, because I'm thankful that it was installed for me to go straight to a 4-year university. But the only thing I would say is, what I say to kids nowadays when they ask me these things, or when I'm approached with the question, is 4-year university is not your only, like, option. It's not the only choice that you have. And a lot of people think that that's their only option, that's their only choice. When I had graduated and I came back home, I realized, like, there was other colleges or small little schools where I could have went to journalism. And it may have been better to do those because it was more hands-on. I was able to get right into the field at the same time I'm going and taking my classes. So each thing comes with its pros and cons, and I think that you have to see what's best for you. And yes, that's a thing that I say a lot, but we are all different. So I don't regret going to my 4-year university. It was the best decision ever. I was able to meet new people. I have friends still from there. I get excited to go back during like homecoming weekend. I was able to join the best sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha, while I was there. You know what I'm saying? I was able to go be on a dance team, learn who I am during undergrad, and I enjoy my classes for the most part, you know. So, and just college life, period. So I don't ever regret me going to 4-year university, but it's not for everybody. Like, if you don't think that you can handle that capacity, or you think that what you are planning on doing as a career or for your life does not need to be where you're at a 4-year university, then don't do it. Don't do it. Go and get your certificate. Or, like, if you're trying to go to, like, if you're interested in certain things. My friend, she went to cosmetology school. So now somebody wants to go to, like, business school or whatever. So I think it just honestly depends on what's best for you at that time. All right, before we continue with our conversation, make sure to follow me on my personal social media accounts to stay updated on what I am doing. You can follow me on Instagram at _KiaZ, _KIAAAZ. You can follow me on Facebook at Kia Brewer. You can follow me on Snapchat at FabulousKia_4 and on TikTok at Zakia Brewer. Okay, so where did we leave off at? It didn't make sense for my friend to not go to a cosmetology school when that was her interest. So it's what you're interested in, what you want to do with your life. Based off of that, it's going to tell you which direction you can go into. You know, there's different things out there based off of whatever career you want to go into. And like I said, my reason of going to a 4-year college university was for the simple fact that that was already installed in me to do next. And I'm thankful for that. The reason why I decided to go to grad school is because I did not just want this one degree. I didn't want to just be, oh, you have a bachelor's in this. No, I want to expand, because what if I want to change what I want to go into? What about if I change what I want to do in my life? I want to be able to have another degree in a whole different type of field that still interests me. So I had to figure out, okay, what are all my passions and what are all my dreams? And based off of that is what the degree I'm getting in. And my degrees are totally different. Like, I have a bachelor's in multimedia journalism, and I'm getting a master's in public administration and policy. Those can come hand to hand a little bit, but at the same time, they're totally like two different things in a way. But those are two different passions that I have for myself. So it's what you want to do and what's best for you and what connects to your dreams and your passion and the career you want to go into. And my thing is this overall. I, before college, was a good student, but I wasn't like, oh, I gotta go home and do my homework. I gotta go do this. I wasn't that type of student. I just did what I had to do and kept it moving. So education was like important, but it wasn't like, I didn't understand the importance really at that time. But when I got to college, I started to see the importance of it. And even now, being in my master's program, I see even more of the importance of getting your degree or going to school. And it's not just because education is important, but it's first, me as an African American woman, I'm already looked at the bottom of the sea, basically. Nobody's looking for African American and a woman. And that's just reality, you know? Yes, things have changed and we have better opportunity now and different things that we can actually do. But at the end of the day, people still have that mentality of that's an African American woman. Simple as that. So being that already makes me want to be eager to get my education. Second is because I want to make sure that what I'm going into, I have a degree in it, because you get more money. Period. It is what it is. When you have a degree behind something, you get more money. Do you get a lot more money? Depends. Whatever your career is. Some careers don't care if you got a degree. And some careers do care if you have a degree. They're going to give you that raise. They're going to increase how much you're getting paid based off of that. So not just those two things, but at the end of the day, I was talking to one of my mentors, and as him and I was talking, it was simple as this. Can't nobody take that away from me. I don't care how much you don't like me. I don't care how much you don't want to give me an opportunity. I don't care how much you just don't care about me. Whatever the case is, you cannot take away my degree. You cannot take away my education. You can't take away what I earned for myself. So if that's not a motivation in itself, or whatever this may be for you, that was my motivation, and that's what kept me eager to go after what I want. Is because can't nobody take no degree away from me, baby. No matter what. Can't nobody say you didn't earn that bachelor's, because I went to those classes. I walked across that stage. Can't nobody say you don't earn this master's, because I'm going to be walking across that stage. I went to those classes. Can't nobody tell you nothing, you know? So that's what I get it. That's why I have my degrees, because can't nobody take that away from me at the end of the day. And it's a whole new game ball now. Like, they're interested in what did you go to school in. Where back then, my parents didn't have to worry about if they went to school or not. Yeah, it was cool, and you know, it was nice, but it really wasn't determined how much you was getting paid like that. Sometimes, to be honest, the amount that they was getting paid without no degree is what we're getting paid with a degree now. So it shows how things are changing and showing what becomes important throughout time and what wasn't important at one time in people's life. So at the end of the day, that's my motivation. And I just want to leave with a few things. First is go to school or college or university, whatever you want to go into, based off of what you're interested in. Don't do it for nobody else. Do it for yourself, because you're going to have to be the one who's taking those classes, and you're going to be the one who's going to have to take that test and sit and have to do it, everything. So if you're doing something based off of what somebody else's dream is or what they want you to do, you're not going to enjoy it, and it's going to be hell for you, because it's not what you want to do. So make sure you go after what you want to do. Second is make sure you find a way to get your education paid for. Even if it's not the whole thing, something. For undergrads and other people, look for scholarships. Make sure you do your FAFSA every year. And for people who are in their masters, find tuition reimbursement. And not even that, if you are older or whatever the case is, and you never went to school at all, and you want to go back and get your bachelor's, get that tuition reimbursement, look for scholarships, look for organizations that's connected to your field of what you're trying to go into, whatever program you're trying to go into, because there's scholarships out there for you. There's money out there for us. We have to not be lazy. We have to actually go and look for it for ourselves for it to happen. And then lastly, like I said, can't nobody take away not one degree you earn, because you earned it. You received it. You worked hard for it and you went after it. And no one can ever take that away from you. And so that was a lot. And I probably didn't touch on some things that people wanted me to talk about. I promise that it will come up in other conversations and other topics that I discuss throughout my episodes. But I just wanted to give a spiel on it and let you know that you can do it. You're capable of doing it. You just got to go and do it. That's all you got to do. You just got to go and do it. And so I'm going to leave with my inspiration question of the week. So my IQ is an inspirational. No, actually, I'm going to do an inspirational quote this week. It's going to be a quote this week as well. So here's the quote. It's called your journey for a reason, because what is in your journey is different from the next person. Don't get caught up in comparing yourself to others and what you don't have. Use what you have right now and stir it up. And that's my inspirational quote of the week, y'all. So thank you for tuning in to episode 5. It's the degree for me, y'all. And I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure that you follow me. Make sure that you comment, subscribe, like, share, all of those good things. And I'll see you in the next episode. Peace and love.
Hey, don't leave me hanging. Before you leave, make sure to subscribe to Zakia Chanel Podcast. You can listen to my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Buzzsprout, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Or go over to Zakia Chanel TV on YouTube to listen and watch the podcast. Looking for someone to host your event, or want to learn how to start your own podcast, or need organizing tips? I'm your girl. Contact me via email. Remember, it starts with you. Be blessed and take care of yourself.